All right, all right, all right. Welcome in. Um, so the other day I was talking about trees, um, and how 6 meter length was what I was cutting them at. So a little bit of discussion. Um, First of all, I'm not an expert on this, but I have messed around with trees for quite a bit. Um, the main thing I want to focus on is when I said that 6 meter to 8 meters was your best cut lengths. So the reason I say that is because it, it really depends on the tree. Okay. If you're talking spruce, which is what I'm currently doing, um, I've worked up a quick little, well, I say quick, I worked up a little thing over here. We're going to boogie on over to where I've got this set up. Um, yes, I've been setting up lines so that I know which way I want to put my oak trees over here. And I've got lodgepole pine that I'm still planting over there. I've got 300 of them to plant. Yay me. Um, what we're now on part of this acreage that we've got in the new Homestead Act Survival Challenge. Um, Quarter of it has to be planted in trees. So all of this has got to be planted in trees. And yes, I'm cutting down a lot of trees. Now, spruce is not one of those trees that you can plant. Um, it's not a bad tree, but it's well, I'll just show you. So we're over here, got everything laid out. Um, when you are cutting spruce, so let me get all hooked up over here. And I recommend this for anything that you do. Okay. So let's just, well, no, I need that back up. Okay. So this log is 34.6 meters. Now, they're generally, if you look at a tree that's just standing, spruce come in two sizes. One size is the 35.8. When you chop it down, you're going to wind up with about 34.6 on the ground. So you're losing even, and I mean, even if you are able to get it um, as close to the ground, see, it won't let you do it there. Even if I click over and do super strength. So you can only cut it about right here. So you're going to lose, yeah, that one's going to wind up being, 34.4. You can't, you can't get it any better. Um, Maybe if we try this one. So yeah, see, that one's just, yeah, you're going to wind up cutting, yeah, 34.4. I can't, so you get the 34.5, 34.6, 34.4. Now this one is 25.5. That's the other size that you have. When you cut it, you're going to look at about 25 meters. That's basically what you're going to get out of it. So you're losing about half a meter when you go to cut a tree down. Now this one, again, is sitting at 34.6. Each one of these trees that I cut up were at 34.6, just like this one. This is a 25.1 meter, so they're all going to be about 25, 25.1, 25.2. Actually, I don't think I've ever seen a 25.2, now that I think about it. Each one of these are cut up in different lengths. This one is 6 meter lengths. This one is 7 meter lengths. And this one is 8 meter lengths. Same over here. I cut them up into, I cut one of these logs, 34.6, into 6 meter lengths, 7 meter lengths, and 8 meter. So if you look at, if you go to one of these trees, when you drop it on the ground, I have lumberjack, so that tells me this information. So the total quality when you get the tree on the ground like this is only 29%. It also tells you the volume if chipped, the wood chip value now, and the wood chip value maximum. I don't know what that means, but anyway, let's look at what the current value of that tree, if we were to pick this tree up and put it in the trigger over there, it's only going to be like 1,029 is what it's saying. Now, I'm going to shove this tree into that trigger to find out exactly how much we're going to make off of it. I'm going to do the same thing with that one. But mind you, look at the shape. Shape is bad, length is bad. So, yeah. Now, remember, I cut these in 6 meter lengths. Have a look. Shape is good, length is perfect. It's a total quality of 93%. Maximum is 120. And it goes for air, like even this one that's only 4.6 meters long is still in good. So each one of these at 6 meters, like this one, says perfect and perfect. And you can look at the 7 meter. 7 meter, good, perfect. Well, that's 6.5, but that's the tail end one. But if you look at this one, it's exactly 7 meters. Good shape, perfect length. Then we'll go over to the 8 meter. What's that say? Good and perfect. So, how do we know which one is going to be the best for what we're doing now? Which is basically we are selling logs. That's what we're doing. We need to kind of figure out where our maximum profit is going to come from. Which one of these links is going to give us our maximum profit? Okay, so if we take the 25 meter tree, 25.1, I'm going to do a super strength. So we got 25.1. I'm not going to put this on the trailer just to run it over here to the trigger. So let's lift that up so we don't hit the fence and hopefully don't hit the light. And then we're going to stick this tree in here. Oops, I'm hitting the fence over there. Anyway, there it is. So, uncut, 25 meter. We're looking at, for sale, $730. That was what we got for that tree, uncut. Now, mind you, that tree is only worth about, now remember, sorry, always look at your pricing for trees. Where is it? Got to find my tree. Wood, I should say, wood. All right, so currently we're seeing in January, which is where we're at the height, but even down here, you know, I mean, our small sawmill is supposedly paying better than these guys. Anyway, we got $730 out of it. Now, let's run over here and have a look see. This is our 34.6. So let's grab this. Now it says it's worth $1,029. Let's go find out, shall we? Go shove this tree in. Hopefully not hit anything since it's like rotating on us and stuff. Alright, we dodge that, and then as long as we can get the majority of the tree into, well, into the trigger. There we go. Majority of the tree in the trigger, somewhere like that. That'll work. Now, full tree, 34.6. Let's sell it. 1,389 for 34.6. Okay. So there's our base. So if we just take these in, shove them in, that's what we're going to get. So if we load a trailer down, don't cut it, don't touch it, that's what we're going to get. Not a lot. So let's go over here. Now remember, our base for our 25 footer, we're gonna grab our 25 footers first. Or I'm sorry, 25 meter ones first. So we're gonna go grab the 6 meter lengths. Now remember, our prices are fairly high at the moment. They're supposed to be top. So we'll grab all the 6 meter lengths, and this is what I would advise you on every map that you get. If you're going to be running forestry, logging, my advice is to find the trees that you have on the map, the majority of which you're going to be cutting. Cut them into 6, 7, 8 meter lengths. Take one tree. Go over here and do what I just did. So go in, put in your base amount. Then you bring your one tree cut up in 6 meter lengths. Park it in the happy little trigger here. Hop out. Now, 6 meter length, 25 meter. Yeah, 25 meter cut into 6 meter lengths. We'll sell it. 28.10. That's what we got for it. 28.10, 6 meter length. Okay. Well, let's go grab the 7. Now you'll notice that we got a lot more because we only got $730 for a full tree that we've already put in. A full tree, 730 bucks. Not worth it. Cut it up. But it does give us a base to figure. All right, these are our 7 meter lengths. So let's grab this. Figures. Always got to be one. Playing around. Wait, is it what? Oh, yeah. Undo that. Tension belts never change. Okay, let's lift this up. Put it up here. Okay, that shouldn't fall off. All right, off we go to see the wizard trigger again. Now our 7 meter lengths. And we're in. Jump out. All right, we're going to sell this, and we get $28.50 for that. So we made $40 more at 7 meters than we did at 6 for the 25 meter tree. And last but not least, we're going to go grab our 8 meter. So what this winds up telling you is what trees at what length is going to be your most profitable for doing forestry. Now, mind you, I only have this little buggy that I'm using here, and you know, it looks overloaded when I have 8 meter lengths on it. All right. So this is our last of the 25 meter tree, and we will look to see what we can get out of this one, and that will give us an idea of what length we should be cutting at. So last one, we just made $27.71, so that is a decided drop because at 6 meters we made $28.10. At 7 meters, we made $28.50, which is $40 more. And then at 8 meters, we lost money. So 8 meter cut on a 25 meter tree, that's bad mojo. Don't do that. So our best bet is at our 25 meter trees, we're going to cut them at 7 meters. That way we will maximize our profit when we come over, because that is literally $40 extra per tree. All right, so remember our 34.6 meter tree made us $1,389. So we've got our tree cut into 6 meter lengths. We're going to grab it. First on, just going to do it the same way we did the other one. We're going to grab each one of them. All right, and then we're going to go over here, pop it in. Again, this is purely for logging. If you're going to do logs, you need to know how to maximize your profits. All right, so $13.89 was what we got originally. Selling this $47.81 for 6 meters. $47.81. All right. Now let's go grab our 7 meters. Or our 7 meter cut, I should say. Now, I have heard, now you can't plant spruce. This is, I haven't found any, like, if you go in here and you want to buy, where is it? Here it is. And you say you want to buy saplings. Let's just go to here. You can get the American elm, apple trees, aspen, beech, blah, 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 blah. But Scotch pine, Manchurian, shagbark, and that's it. No spruce. So, yeah, I will be speaking on that in just a moment. For now, just doing this. Okay, so this is our 7 meter lengths. Remember, it's a 34.6 meter tree. So, like I said, doing the same thing, and let's go find out what kind of all right, 47.61. So we lost about 20 bucks on doing it at 7 meters. Okay, that's 20 bucks per tree. All right, and now we'll get our 8 meter and we'll see what it brings us. And like I said, this is specific to each tree. So if you have, say, lodgepole pine, or if you have Scotch pine, or those are your two major logging trees. If you're doing forestry and logging, and you are literally just selling the logs, yeah, those are your two major ones. Spruce, I mean, it's not a bad tree, but yeah, it doesn't have a lot of volume to it. All right, so let's pop this in here and get our last check on this. 45.93. 45.93. So we've really lost money on that. And this is why I say you need to check your trees. Okay? A lot of people will say, well, 8 meters is the perfect length. Well, 8 meters is the perfect length for some types of trees. Just like 7 meters on a 25 meter tree, 7 meter cut will be the perfect length for spruce, because we'll get an extra $40 per tree cutting it at 7 meters. For the 34.6 meter trees, we're going to get better money if we run it at 6 meter lengths. So when I say 6 to 8 meter lengths is your best bet, this is your perfect window, so to speak. It highly depends on the tree. You gotta try to, like, I know some people are just like, I ain't worried about it, and that's cool. I get it, completely understand. But if you want to maximize your profits, my advice to you is to figure out, do this test. Cut your trees at 6, 7, and 8 meter cuts. Normally there's, some trees will grow like lodgepole pine. They'll get to a certain height and that's it. There's only one height that a lodgepole pine will get to, fully mature. I believe it's 36.3 or something like that. So now lodgepole pine, I have heard, is best cut at 9 meter lengths. I don't know. I have planted lodgepole pine, and I'll figure that out when I get some of them up to full maturity. We'll figure it out because we will be doing logging operations on that. Now, I did mention that we're going to talk growth rates. I have no idea how long it takes a spruce to grow because we can't plant it. I do know that lodgepole pines take about 3 to 3.5 years in game to mature, to get full height. You're only going to get somewhere in the range of about 5,600 liters volume-wise out of that tree. But because they're tall and they're straight, they sell good for logs. Okay. So to me, the best for logging is going to be your lodgepole pine because it grows to full maturity in about 3.4 months, or 3 years to 3.5 years. You can chop it down. Again, test your cuts and then take it in, make money. Scotch pine, while they actually grow taller than the lodgepole. They actually have less yield volume wise than the lodgepole pine. So while they are good for logging, they also, the growth rate on those things is insane. They take like 10 years, 8 or 10 years, I can't remember, but it's pretty insane. So yeah, don't don't go with them if you want to turn over a profit fairly quickly. Um, Now, if you are running productions, so logging and forestry, if you want to just log and do forestry, lodgepole pine is your best friend. You want to hug up on those trees and give them lots of love and affection because yeah, that's going to be your bread and butter. And again, they're one of the faster growing forestry logging trees that you can get. Okay, that's why I'm literally turning this entire area into basically a lodgepole pine because lodgepole pine um, tree farm, and even part of this is going to be lodgepole pine tree farm because they grow in 3.5 years, and they're great for logging. I have high aspirations to turn this into a decent logging operation. Um, Now, about these other bits that I've put down here, these strips. Why have I got these little strips of oak, these little strips of leaves running here? Well, that's because I am planting oak trees on every one of these strips. And I can hear somebody saying, Grizz, why are you planting oak trees? Those things are a pain. You are absolutely correct. They have a lot of branches, they have a lot of leaves, they're funky, they're crazy, they're weird, and they are really difficult to deal with. Absolutely. However, in saying all that, I planted some without doing my due diligence, um, which was silly of me. I planted these, I think it was 40 feet apart, something like that. Yeah, about 40 foot apart, give or take a half a foot. When I should have been planting them a little bit closer. Um, I'll have to actually bring one of the trees over because I need to mark 10 meters between trees is where you need to be when you plant oak. You need 10 meters between each tree. Well, say you need 10 meters. The end game, if we look at tree planters, this one right here will plant them every 10 meters. So if you get this planter, you put your tree pallet up on the top of it, and you start planting trees. Every 10 meters is where this sucker's going to drop it. So after watching them grow in another um, save of mine, um, yeah, plant them at 10 meters, perfect. So I'm going to come back and redo this line at 10 meters, which I'll have to sit down and figure out in feet what that equates to. I think it's somewhere around 30 some odd feet. Um, 10 meters. Hang on a minute. Let me do some mathing over here. Um, it's Saturday. I really don't feel like doing mathing, but we're going to do it anyway. As soon as I find, there it is. So, um, yeah, it equates to, okay, so it equates to almost 33 feet instead of 40. So 7 foot off. Whatever. Anyway, we'll come back. We'll plant those at 30. We'll just call it 33 feet. It's 32 feet 9.7 inches. Yeah, we're not going to get that technical. We'll just put it at 33 feet and be happy. Now you may be asking yourself, why are you doing something like planting oak, which we all know is a pain in the butt? Okay, well, I have a production right here, and I have room for more productions here. And I am looking at the possibility, whoops, that was the wrong one. I am looking at the possibility, still the wrong one. Jeez. Okay. I want to do like furniture. I want to do what was it? Maybe paper factory. I might want to do I think there's one where you can actually make cooper, like barrels, buckets, stuff like that. That's furniture. No, I mean we'll probably do furniture. Actually, I think that. Oops. I actually think this one can do furniture. Um, hmm. There is one in here. I know for a fact that does. I'll find it. I have way too many mods sometimes, especially when I'm looking for something. Um, See, we also want to do the wood chip mill, like the mill that you take in wood chips and it produces other products. Um, Plant-based milk, no. We may have to try that one day though. Is it? Well, this is getting annoying here. So like these productions are, those are really fast. That's a small, that's a very small one. Look at that. Look how small that is. I do like that he's changed up because this is a mod from the actual map builder. It would appear. Let's see here. Yeah, this one of these. Um, this small sawmill will actually do um these different products and walls apparently. So that's kind of cool. Um, we will probably put that here somewhere. 36,000. I have the money to do it. Um, so we will probably put this in here somewhere. Once we make our mind, because that's going to have to go. Um, I probably shouldn't have put that there, but we're going to have to change this up a little bit because, yeah. Anyway, um, back to oaks. So no, oaks are a pain in the butt. However, for productions, like for this area here, um, mind you, if we look at this, let's just look at this one. The volume that it has currently, its volume, 1,883 liters. So that's it, 1,893 liters. These are 6 meter cuts, which means it's about 20 foot long. Now the volume when chipped is much higher, and of course the price if chipped is much higher. However, 1,339 liters. One oak tree, fully grown, produces around 21,000 liters of wood volume. One tree. And I can throw it in there. 5 trees will fill that sawmill up because the sawmill takes 100,000. Yep, 100,000. So having all these to throw in that production is painful. These oak trees will be growth rate wise for oak trees. They are actually the fastest growing tree in the game. It takes 2 years from when they're planted to in-game years, full height. I believe it's 17.9 meters tall, and they have a volume of 21,000-ish liters. I mean, you could put 3 sawmills here. And just off what I've got here planned, because I can't remember how many of these trees I planted. I think I don't remember. That's sad. I normally write this stuff down. Apparently I forgot to do that. So there is 1, 2, 3. There's 16 on that row. There'll probably be 17 on this row. So just those trees on that row will keep that full easily. No problems. Easy. So yeah, I I can't stress enough how much it helps when you're able to determine how good things are, like the trees that you need to use and how it helps and all that good stuff. It's just really good. So, if you guys are, curious about talking trees, the best recommendations I can give you is to plant oak for your productions and to plant lodgepole pine for any of your forestry / logging operations. Most of you already probably know this. I kind of knew it, but the one thing I don't know is what your optimal cut is going to be on lodgepole pine. That's one of those situations where I will resort to what I just did and cut it at different lengths to determine just sort of how much we need, what's our best cut length. So, yeah. Other than that, we are still out here chopping trees. We are slowly getting this where it needs to be. We are moving. Well, let's go ahead and while we're here, we will do a couple of things. All these trees will be cut up. These are 25 footers. Those are 34.6. We're going to continue cutting along this line until we reach somewhere down here. I gotta find my line. There it is, right there. Till we reach about right here. And yeah, that's going to be our cutoff for stopping on these trees for the moment. I don't know. We're going to continue to cut. I just might. I don't want to cut them all down and not use them, if you know what I mean. So that can be a bit of an issue if because like that pile I've got over there, I'm probably going to wind up selling that pile of logs that I've got by the sawmill. Mainly because sometimes I'll come in here and like, really? What is this? Seriously? Okay. Let's go put this in. I'm allowed to sell it because it keeps like certain, like when I'll sleep, it will do weird stuff, and I'll come over here and the pile will be sideways. A little bit annoying that happens. So we may be downsizing that pile quite a bit. Obviously, we can't put it into our sawmill, so for the time being, it will be sold, and yeah, we'll just keep cutting as we need, while also, let's see, make sure we got this right, make sure we got all 4 of those. Excellent. We switched our sawmill over to wood beam production only. That's why we have so many of them. Because our house over here needs it. We are in January, so you know. We did get our cement. We got all of our loan planks and our regular planks in there that I am aware of. I think we're on stage 2. Looking pretty nifty here. I kind of like it. Don't know what's up with the fence all around it and everything, but hey, whatever makes them happy, I guess. And then, yeah, we'll shove this in. We needed 5,000 liters, if I recall correctly. We already put 1,000 in, so that should take care of that. Let's jump out and have a quick check. So, what stage are we on now? We are still on 2. I think we got plenty in there to do what needs to be done. So yeah, it'll be fine. We have whatever it is in storage. We've got a fair bit in storage right now, so it's pretty good. All right. We've been cutting down the little trees. Normally, what I do with the little trees is I just take my chainsaw, and there's only like 173 liters. It's not even really worth cutting down and doing away with the stump, so I just delete it basically. And then, yeah, we have some work to do over on this top section. Now, right up in here somewhere. Let's see. Let me hop out. Where's our? I've got it somewhere. Where is it? Okay. So, right here, the edge of this is where our map edge is, like for this property. So once we get here, we're going to fill this entire area with trees. That's going to take a little while. Not going to lie, I'm doing it by hand, so it's going to take a minute. But then that area up here is all set up for, or going to be set up for, our animals. And we're going to have to do that sooner rather than later because I have a lot of grass sitting over here, and I'm going to need to cut more grass. Speaking of grass, have we got anything in here? Oh, look, we have that. Oh, we need that. We need that really bad. So that's bought. Ooh, yep, I'm gonna buy that too. No more hand planting. Yay. Oh, a rake. We have a rake. Holy crap, we have a rake, guys. Oh yeah. Yep. 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 That was. Yep. Definitely. Um, we already got water. Already got something for water. Should we buy that? Should we? Cause like, I mean, we don't have the harvester. But if the Ford harvester comes up and then we don't have the header, it's not going to do us any good. Oh man, this used vehicle challenge is driving me nuts. Sorry about that, my friend. Um, it's only supposed to be a short stream. Um, I wanted to clear up some stuff about what I was saying on the trees the other day when I was talking about 6 meter lengths and 8 meter lengths, and I was just showing that when you're dealing with like me, when I'm dealing with spruce, um, yeah, I'm about to buy it. I'm gonna go ahead and buy it. I can afford to do it, so we're gonna go ahead and buy it. But when you're dealing with spruce, like one of the reasons I was talking about 6 meter lengths on the like I just sort of did a test to show that if you cut down yeah, I hope so. If you cut down like a 25.5 meter tree, you're only going to get about 25.1 out of this. Like that's maximum that you're going to get. So if you take your chainsaw, put it down here to cut it, uh, I've got lumberjack, so it kind of tells me about what we're going to get out of it. About the best we're going to get is 25.1 out of this one. So, but when you cut it up, when you do your cuts on it, if you take each tree and you cut it into 6, 7, 8 meter lengths. So if you take 3 of your trees that are 25.1, cut them up into each length, and then go sell one tree at a time at those lengths. It will tell you what your best length is going to be for that size tree, so you can maximize your profits on it. Like the 25.1 size trees, the best actual cut for those is a 7 meter cut. Whereas the 36, well, the 35.8, you only get 34.6 out of these. Um, yeah, about 34.6 is the best you can get out of them. And that's where your 6 meter cuts come in. You'll make more money doing a 6 meter cut on this longer tree than a 7 or an 8. You'll actually lose money. You'll lose 20 bucks. If you cut it into 7 meter lengths, you'll lose 20 bucks per tree. If you cut it in 8 meter lengths, you're going to lose even more than that. So it's one of the reasons I was saying that your best cuts are between 6 and 8, but it's highly tree dependent and what you're doing with the tree as well. So like if you're just shoving it into your sawmill, shove the whole tree in. Doesn't really matter. You don't have to cut it. Just shove the whole tree in. You're getting the same volume either way. But if you're selling the tree for logs, then you need to know the lengths that are going to give you to maximize the profits. I did buy that, right? I did. Okay. So now I just have to sit here and pray. I can't afford that. I don't even know if that's a pre 2000 model anyway. Well, see, with a spruce, 8 meter lengths on a spruce on the 34.6s, you'll actually lose, you're going to lose about 200 bucks on the tree. If you cut the spruce, the 34.6s, if you cut them at 8 meters, you're going to lose money on them. So that's why I say check your trees and check your cuts, because you'll lose money if you don't have the right cut, basically. Because at 6 meter on the 34.5 spruce, I'm getting 47.81. 8 meters 8 meter cuts on the 34.5 spruce, I get $45.93. So I'm literally losing almost $200 per tree by cutting it at 8 meters. So that's why I don't cut the 34.5s at 8. And I'm just recommending to people, if you want to maximize your profit. Now, if you don't care, that's fair. Ship it. That's the way I look at it. Um, but if you like in this series, I do kind of care about maximizing my profits because I need those profits. Like I said, when something comes up in the sale, I need to be able to buy it. I need to have the money sitting in the bank to buy it because I can't take any more loans. So I need to maximize that profit. Now, if I was on something like my old Welker Farms, I don't care. Ship it. It ain't gonna bother me. Losing 100, almost $200 on a tree is not gonna bother me one way or another because I have other stuff to offset that, so to speak. And I was also mentioning that I'm planting oaks because oaks are really good for productions. So like if you want to do logging and forestry, then you need to plant like lodgepole pine. Lodgepole will get you probably the best price. They're the quickest growing, tall and straight. Takes them about 3.5 years to grow. Yeah. So if you do logging, which we're going to do a bit of logging in this, is one of the reasons I'm planting the lodgepole over there. Lodgepole is your best bet. If you're going to do productions, which I'm going to have a few productions, wood productions, then oak is your best bet because 2 years you get a full-grown oak tree, 21,000 liters of wood. That'd definitely fill your sawmill pretty quick. Yes, log for money. Absolutely. Maximize your profit, whichever way you go. Always, yeah, lodgepole for money, definitely. Um, you want to maximize your profit on logging, and with lodgepole, you do. I mean, basically, you wait 3.5 years, um, fill those freaking lodgepole trees, go make your money off of them, replant. Um, Oak, absolutely the best for production. Hands down, 2 years, 21,000 liters per tree. Yes, sir. Absolutely best for production. So we are planting those, and I was saying I've got these set at about 40 feet. The actual planter that I bought, it's over there now. We'll plant these at around 10 meters apart. I've got them, that's around 33 feet. I've got them about 40 feet, and that's fine. It's fine. We will be replanting. I've got all these rows. So like all these little leaf rows here, these are all for oak. Oh yeah. All these are for oak right now. So I've got it all set up all the way over to here. Every single one of these rows is for oak, and there's some on the other side of the sawmill I'm gonna put in. Oh yeah, we're gonna be looking at some productions. I ain't even gonna lie. We're gonna be doing some productions. And I've even got a little sawmill I was showing earlier. Is this one? I might put a couple of these in because it does barrels and buckets and walls, and it does everything, wood chips and everything. So a couple of oak trees will fill that up really nice. I'm not really too worried about that on this particular playthrough. I'm kind of doing it all myself because it's kind of a survival challenge slash you're out here on your own, new Homestead Act thing, blah blah blah. But yes, I was not completely aware of that, but I will use that for future purposes. So yeah, I had to move my campground because I needed to make space for me to be able to put all my little rows in. But you can see all the rows that I'm going to be using for oak. Quite a few of them. I'm getting, I think, 15 per row, 16 per row, 16 oaks per row that I planted. Should be about, with the planter, it'll be about 17 per row. And it'll keep going up because these get a little bit longer as they go across. And then I'll be planting all those. I may keep planting these because I actually planted those at 7 feet apart. And the planter's still going to want to plant lodgepole pine at 10 meters apart. I don't know that you need 10 meters between lodgepole pine because they're so straight and they don't really have that many limbs, you know. I'll have to make that decision because that's a lot of lodgepole pine to plant. Anyway. All right, so we have our harvester head and we have our rake, which is really good because I was just talking about our plan for this area back here. That's all going to be, well, you know what? Let's just grab this bad boy right here. Yeah, no, we're not going to grab that right now. It's not the month to be cutting grass. Oh, I'm sure. I just don't know how to change it on the planter. I'll have to look into that, to be honest. Okay, so this row right here. It's also the edge of our property. So all this is pretty decent grassland, like meadow grass. So we'll be running, I think it goes almost up to this tree line. And we're going to turn part of this into a goat pen. Well, it'll be a sheep pen, but you know what I'm talking about. There'll be goats in it. So we're going to plant it somewhere out through here. Yeah, like I said, the edge of our property goes almost up to these trees. Almost. So somewhere up in, how about here? Somewhere up in here. So that's a good bit of property right there. So we could put some goats in here. We can put some sheeps in here. We can put some pigs. We could put a few cattle. I mean, we got between between this property and part of this property for animals. I'd say we got more than enough room for animals. Uh, I will be honest. I have had mutton. It's not bad, but it is an acquired taste. Um, and it depends on how it's cooked. You know, if you some ways you cook it and it tastes really really good, and other ways you cook it and it's like, yeah, I don't want that no more. Like I say, they're acquired taste. But I have eaten goat and sheep, and some were good. Some the chef needs a little bit of work on it. So that's all I can say. And goat milk is another thing that I'm looking for as well because I will need to sell goat milk. I'll also need it for any family I might eventually have in the future on this particular plot. I mean, we are sitting on 102 acres and having to do it all by yourself. Well, let's just say it's a little bit painful. But we do have the grass. I had already planned to have goats, so we've got grass bales sitting here. There's 57 grass bales here. And we've got a decent little bush hog now. Tree planter, grass rake. God, we need that. And hopefully we can get a Ford harvester to hook that up to and be happy. But yeah, guys, oh, we have more wood beams coming out. This is a really good producing little sawmill. It is on Mod Hub. Um, so I think it's just called um, I think it's just called a small sawmill. It should be right. There it is. Yeah, small sawmill mod. Um, pretty good. Runs pretty good. Well, if I could buy the Batwing, I would, but it hasn't come through on the sale yet. Like I can only buy out of the used vehicle sales. So yeah, and it hasn't come up. All I've got right now is like this. It's like, I've already got a cedar, and I'm not going to pay 212,000 for a cedar that I don't have the horsepower for. So, um, yeah, kind of waiting on stuff to come through. Hey, Miss Dust Bunny, how you doing? Damo, how's it going, brother? Um, like I say, we are limited to what we can get out of here. Um, I put that limitation on myself to make this a challenge. We are out in the middle of the boondocks because if you go up here and this is the only way to get to where we are basically. Um, yeah, we're in a little valley in the middle of nowhere. So yeah, I cleaned up the sawmill a little bit because it was looking a little rough around the edges. Um, added a few little rocks and some additional stuff here, make it look a little bit better. Cleaned all this up. Again, we have a lot of tree planting to do. I may use that planter because it makes it a lot easier. Um, yeah, 10 meter lengths. So be it, I guess. But I still need to put down. I think I'm going to put down to about right here with oak, and then the rest of it will be sort of, yeah, we'll cut off right about here is what I was aiming at to do with the lodgepole pine so that we can do forestry on this side. So this strip here will end about here. So that will be all, this little corner down here will be all lodgepole. And this up here will be mostly oak. So we may wind up putting in more than one sawmill because that one's already full and I'm keeping it full. Um, so we may put down a few more just to see how we go. But like I say, I want to clear up anything I said in regards to when you're doing forestry. Always look at what you're working with. So if it's spruce, 34.5 meter trees, best for maximum profit, you want to run them at 6 meter cuts. And the 25.1 meter trees, for best profit, you want to run them at 7 meter cuts. So you need to separate that out, and that's where you can get your maximize your profit. Um, if you're only wanting to do forestry, that's it. You just want logging and you want to put it into the sawmill and sell it. You don't want nothing to do with production of it. You just want to sell it. Lodgepole pine is your best friend. Um, takes about 3.5 years to grow. I think it's 3.4 months if you want to get technical. Um, they grow to about 36.3 meters in length. I have heard rumor that 9 meters is the best cut for them. I don't know that for a fact, so do your own testing. Um, and then for production, if you want to like to run wood productions, put your smoke trees up. They're a pain in the butt to work with. But in 2 years, you can get an oak to grow. Now, granted, in real life, there is no way in 2 years you're going to get an oak to grow to full maturity. That's not even going to happen. But if you want it in this game, 2 years is one of the fastest growing. Actually, I think it is the fastest growing tree in the game. 2 years, 21,000 liters. Yeah, you'll keep productions full with those. So, like I said, just came in to do a little bit of talking about that. Glad I came in because we did actually wind up buying some stuff from the used vehicle sale. We now have a harvester head. We can mow a little bit wider now because the poor little sickle mower, well, it took a minute. So we got a bush hog. I think it's 3 point something. Wait, do a quick comparison. So let's see. Look at our mowers. So yeah, this is 2 meters and that is 3.4. So we went up a grand total of 1.4 meters wider. Yeehaw. And then we have a windrower as well because we're only collecting grass at this point because we're doing goats and sheep first. We'll deal with the hay later. But yeah, that's our windrower. I've never run one of these before, so it should be interesting. I mean, we are going a little bit old school here. Um, yeah, kind of like it. Got a header. Now we just gotta hope the harvester comes up. But anyway, guys, yeah, I think I've already shown that we got those last time, and obviously we've got our winch. Hopefully we will be able to make things happen around here a little bit more. But for now, I'm going to jump off of here. It is. I've actually been on here a little bit longer than I'd planned. I try to keep these down to like 45 minutes to an hour. Um, and sorry about coming on so late. I did have an issue. I was trying to get a growth pattern to understand what the lodgepole pine was doing, but I wanted to test. I couldn't remember what the Scotch pine did, how long it took. So I planted that as well into another save that I had. I didn't realize it was going to take, I forgot that Scotch pine takes like 10 years to grow. So if you're doing logging, Scotch pine is definitely not a friend if you want something that's quick growing and you get some decent volume out of. Yeah, it's straight, but yeah, no. But anyway, take care, guys. This will actually go into, this is like, I guess the third episode of this, so I'm going to actually put this into the playlist, even though it's live, um, for this particular series. And hopefully you enjoyed. I appreciate you guys being here. Um, I'm sorry if it didn't give you a heads up. I thought it was supposed to. Like, it did for me. Like, went out to everyone. It did to me. I don't know. I'll have to double check that to see if there was an issue there. And I will attempt in the future to actually post up. Um, I don't know if I can do this on YouTube, but I'll attempt to post up and say, hey, I might be live at whatever time tonight. Um, like I said, I was hoping to do this a little bit earlier, but unfortunately things didn't work out. Okay, okay. Sorry about that, Dust Bunny. I will make sure to attempt to notify you via Discord. But I do know that it came through on my email to show that that it had sent out to notify people that I was going live. So I will set it up somehow to. Okay, okay, well that's fine. Um, I'm still learning about all this nifty stuff. Remember that. So, and I'm not real good at that whole self promotion thing, but I appreciate that, Des Bunny. So anyway, You guys have a great night. I hope you all had a good Christmas. Hopefully you have a good New Year, whenever that is. I don't even know. What's the day? Saturday, 27th? Yeah. Well, anyway, hope you guys had a great Christmas. Hope you had a great day today. And I appreciate your time. Appreciate you being here. And we will catch up with you guys later. I may or may not possibly do a live stream tomorrow, depending on what I've got going. But there will be a episode of this coming out on Monday, unless I do a live stream tomorrow. Um, at which point it may get delayed because if I do two live streams back to back, I don't know if I'll be putting it out on Monday. Um, thanks for everything, guys. I appreciate you. Like I said, I'll try to give you guys more of a heads up on the live streams. Um, I'll try to post something on YouTube and in Discord. So I don't have a Discord yet. I'll see about working on that. Take care, guys. Catch up with you later. And again, I appreciate you being here.